Good evening. I'd like to call to order the September 1st, 2021 Concord Township Board of Trustee agenda. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Rose, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Mrs. Lucci.
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Present.
Mr. McIntosh.
Present. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We've got a couple different meetings to approve separately.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the August 4th, 2021 regular trustees meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the August 30th, 2021 special meeting minutes.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the August 31st, 2021 special meeting minutes.
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. Okay, moving into elected officials reports, and we have Fiscal Officer Pro Tempore, Mr. Dondorfer,
Yes.
giving the Fiscal Officer's report.
Amy Dawson, who is not here tonight. It's okay. For our treasurer's report this evening, as of August 31st, we were 67% of the way through the calendar year. The treasury balance for the 20 active funds within the Township Treasury was $17.7 million. The treasury balance includes $1.5 million in funds set aside for specific projects. This does not include the fire station projects. Year-to-date expenditures were 35% of the amount appropriated for 2021. Revenue received year-to-date is 96%, which includes receipts of the second half of our real estate taxes. Real estate tax revenue will not be received again until late February of 2021 when we receive our next advance. The revenue includes $951,000 in American Rescue Plan Act money that needs to be spent by 2024. This money is very restricted in its use. In addition, we have requested the trustees vote on opening a new account with Star Ohio this evening. This will be a good account to have the bond proceeds and other deposits grow until needed. Finally, our general fund distribution was short of anticipated Schedule A estimates due to overall collections being down. A new amended certificate of estimates resources, which Mrs. Dawson will prepare for the next meeting, will reflect these changes. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call Ms. Dawson in the fiscal office at 354-7516. And that concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. Trustees, Mrs. Lucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we had a little bit of a break from our last meeting, but it's still been a busy month nevertheless. Big news of the day was the opening of Lucky's today, which was phenomenal. I must say it's so exciting to have another grocer back in Concord, and especially feel lucky to have Lucky's. Great family. Thanks to our previous board for helping get all this in place, and I look forward to shopping, and I think we all do. So it was a wonderful morning. Cryle Road is all done. It looks wonderful. Have a lot of comments from folks that it's great to ride on that street. Thank you to everybody for hanging in there with the detours and some of the issues, but happy that that is finished. I have got a few calls from some residents' concerns over some power outages in the township. There's been some recent talk with other subdivisions affected by outages, and First Energy is looking at statistics sort of countywide, and we're gonna look into that further as well. I also had a call from some residents regarding some flooding issues, and spoke with the county regarding some possible ditch maintenance on Girdled Road to help the resident with some of those issues in the near future. Some resident concerns regarding new proposed developments, which have been ongoing. And I did attend the OTA Federal Day as part of the Leadership Academy, which was mainly discussions were around the infrastructure federal bill that is currently pending. I did get a call from a resident regarding the fall cleanup schedule, which I'm sure Mr. Brown will address in his report. We are excited about the bidding process for the fire stations. I think the highlight of my week was the promotional interviews that we did the last couple nights with our firemen, and I'm just so proud that we have such awesome service people, and very honored that they work for Concord Township. And I think a lot of that stems from the leadership, so I applaud that department. Thank you very much. Carl and I attended the 5K in Concord, which benefited Riverside Cross Country. And other than that, I'm looking forward to Abbey Rodeo on the 16th, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of our summer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucci. Mr. Dondorfer.
Busy. That was quite
It's a long report.
busy report. Yeah, I'll just echo a few things because a lot of those things were on my list. I mean, we were very fortunate enough to get Cryle Road done before the grand opening of Lucky's, and it was great to be there today at the ribbon cutting. What a great family the Saltzmans are, local, great group of people. They have a great staff. The store is amazing. I think everybody's in for a very unique grocery store experience when they go there, and I think it's great for Concord. So I echoed that resolve. It was great today. I did entertain a couple questions about the power outages recently, and I know that we've spoken to our administrator, Mr. Rose, who has targeted 4 areas where there seems to be some significant power outages, and we've reached out to First Energy requesting a detailed report, and they're working on that, so I'm sure we'll hear back on that. Update on our pickleball courts, I got a call on that. I believe in mid-September we're due to complete the surface coating, and then the install on the poles and netting and the markings on the court. So hopefully in short order those pickleball courts will be open for our residents. Promotional interviews, what an experience. It's nice to see. During my 28 years of public service, I worked with all those guys that were in the promotional process for lieutenant and captain. Couldn't have been prouder for each and every one of them. They're stand-up guys, they're great leaders, great firefighters, and we're blessed to have such a great cast of first responders here at Concord. So it was a great process, and I'm looking forward to the future with those guys, as well as our new fire stations. I did have a couple calls. Some of our residents might have seen the news, I believe it was in the News Herald, about Perry Township working on adding 4 deputies from the Sheriff's Department for police protection within Perry Township. I did have some questions whether or not Concord Township had adequate law enforcement services. In my background in that area, I had some discussion, and I know we're going to begin to look into that. Based on the growth in the township and our current law enforcement resource, which is about 1.75 daily, it definitely looks like we need to have some dialogue as far as adding to our law enforcement resources for the township. So I know we're going to begin some dialogue and hopefully get some community input. With that, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Carl. You guys covered a lot. I have had some of the same. Did get to attend after our last meeting the fireworks. That was fun. We had our concert. That was the next day. I did have hear from some residents regarding some concerns about a couple different developments. We had a public hearing before this. Took some conversations about that. Did have meet with a resident about construction of Fire Station 2. I did receive some emails. There was a lot of concern about traffic flow. Cryle Road, took some calls, took some emails and text messages during the course of that. Great to see it's done. It's nice. Lots of elbow room there. Lots of room to turn, and so it's great that that's done. I would echo the same. The promotional interviews with the fire department was amazing. I felt like I'd had a chance to understand the fire service, and I've known Chief Sable for a while. I mean, I knew some of the guys back under the Warner administration, and certainly we have a great generation of leadership. But in interviewing these guys, you see a bit of all of the leaders, the current chief, the former chief, and you see each of them coming at it, and what a great opportunity to see the diversity of leadership we get to promote. And Chief, you got a great department, and we heard a number of stories that you hear things and people say, well, your firefighters in Concord are great, but then when these guys come in and interview and they tell you stories and they explain situations they've been in and talk about the community, and it connects some dots and it brings it home. It was moving at times. It was just
Great.
Couldn't be prouder of our guys, and the residents of Concord should be very proud of this department because it's a great group of guys. And wrapping up again, super excited to see Lucky's. Managed to walk through those doors now 3 or 4 times in the last 3 days. Haven't been through them in years. When we got to walk through the other day, it felt odd being in there after all that time.
Right.
But the Saltzman family's done a great job. As I said this morning, when I was campaigning for trustee, I could tell people were less concerned about who their next trustee was going to be and more concerned about whether there was going to be a grocery store coming back to Concord. We've got one. They've done a phenomenal job. And I came back this afternoon to grab dinner on the way home, and the whole family was still there, putting food away, working out problems. So that's some dedication. I think we're fortunate to have them. So. Even though we took a meeting off, it was been a pretty productive and busy month. So, all right, moving on to department reports. Administrator Rose.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh, members of the board, members of the audience, good evening. Few items on tonight's agenda I'd like to cover. Item B is a vote to authorize an agreement with CEC Incorporated, which is to conduct Phase 3 of the waterline study. This is the final phase, which will provide the layout and cost estimates in order to determine the next steps for the extension of public water service to certain areas of the township. So I recommend a favorable vote to finish the third phase of this project. Item I is a vote for the trustees to enter into executive session in order to discuss imminent litigation. The Ohio Revised Code section covering this is 121.22G3. So we'll request that at the end of the meeting. A few other items. The bid opening for the fire stations project has been moved to September 9th, 2021 at 2 p.m. here at Town Hall. The date was pushed due to the number of RFIs, which is requests for information, that have been received by the architect, engineer, and owner's rep. And that's actually a very good sign. We're seeing good activity from the general contractor community on this project. So that's a very good sign. We've got a good deal of economic activity taking place, not just in the retail corridor with, Lucky's, which is fantastic, and it was great to be at the grand opening. But, we're currently in discussions with 3 new manufacturers that are all outside of Lake County that are looking at Concord Township. And we're also in discussions with 2 of our existing manufacturing businesses here in Concord Township who are reviewing plans to expand. The retail corridor is doing well. We're receiving good inquiries regarding the few vacant storefronts that we have located. So I guess the report is that I'm very encouraged by this activity. It's rare to be talking to 1, maybe 2. We're talking to 3 manufacturers that are all located outside of Lake County that want to come to Concord Township. So that's bodes very well for us, and it's exciting. Also, finally, as mentioned by the trustees in their reports, I did recently have a very good discussion with the government liaison from First Energy regarding the concerns that have been raised on power reliability. Several areas in the township were selected, and we're supposed to get some detailed reports of these outages and causes. They should be coming the week following Labor Day. And then that will allow us to have some more in-depth discussions internally and also with First Energy to find out what we can do to improve electric reliability for our residents. But I do think, we have had some power blips, but I do think we do have very good electricity service in Concord Township. I will say that. And then finally, it's been mentioned, but Crowell Road, this was a county engineer's office project, so I would like to thank them for their work. The project came in about almost 2 weeks ahead of schedule, which worked out to everyone's favor, ours, the county's, the retail corridor. So, many thanks to the county engineer's office for their efforts on that. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Moving along to the fire department, Chief Sabo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So for the month of August, we had a total of 273 events compared to 219 in August of 2020. Total year to date, we've had 1,770, an increase of 162 from last year. So we're seeing quite a bit of activity. We had 184 EMS incidents with 135 transports. We had 7 fire events. Inside Concord, we had 2 events, 1 oven fire and 1 grill fire with extension to the deck and partially to the house. We had outside of Concord, we had 5 events, 1 vehicle fire in Leroy, 1 house fire in Chardon, 1 shed fire in Painesville Township, 1 house fire in Menor, where we staged at their Station 5, and 1 high-rise fire in Willoughby Hills. Those were fire events that we provided mutual aid across the county. We gave mutual aid 23 times and we received mutual aid 12 times. And probably the biggest number of overlapping calls I've seen to date is 108. So 108 times this month. We had more than 1 event going on at the same time. So we had 2 or more incidents happening simultaneously. So about 40% of our calls were multiple events at once that our firefighters did a great job managing. Our officers did a fantastic job leading that to get all those calls answered and people helped. In the Fire Prevention Bureau, they completed 41 building inspections, accounting for about 74 hours. They did 6 plan reviews, accounting for about 15 hours. And they spent about 45 hours in training and continuing education, including Inspector Rott attended the Ohio Arson School in Columbus. So we thank him for his furthering his education in arson investigation. As a matter of fact, he followed up with 1 investigation at a local business for an industrial electrocution. That he followed up to make sure that they had what they needed and to support them and getting them back to business. I too would like to thank the board for taking the time to interview the firefighters and officers. I'm proud of our firefighters. I couldn't be in a better department. I'm blessed with the leadership that we have. And it sounds like that was reflected in the interview. So thank you very much. And I look forward to things to come from this department. They're top notch.
They really are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rick? So for the safety tip this month, I'm taking a lesson from Deb.
Give you some.
I wanted to go for the video, but we couldn't pull that off quick enough. So grilling use in our multifamily units are different from our single-family dwelling units in Concord Township. For example, in a multifamily unit, you cannot use grills on balconies. The grills must be at least 10 feet from the building, and you cannot store a propane tank or grill inside of the building. So that's for multifamily. And that's done to protect everybody. Because, just like you heard in my previous report, we did have 1 grill fire. The tank was left on, it ignited, and caused some extension. So that extension could have been more significant had it been in a multifamily, affecting more families than just 1. So there's nothing like outdoor grilling. It's one of the most popular ways to cook food. grill placed too close to anything that can burn is a fire hazard. They can be very hot, causing burn injuries. Follow these simple steps and you will be on your way to safe grilling and a wonderful outdoor experience. So is it safe to use propane grill indoors? No. Goes without saying, but it has to be said because we have seen it. So no, don't use grills, propane or charcoal indoors. Make sure you keep your grill clean by removing grease buildup from the grills and the trays below the grill. Get rid of all that grease that can build up. And stand by your pan. So don't leave pans unattended in your home, just like on a grill. Don't leave your grill unattended. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away. And always make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting it. If it doesn't light right away, turn off the gas and wait at least 5 minutes before attempting to light it again to allow the gas to dissipate, preventing a flash burn. So thank you this evening.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you,
you.
Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Service Department, Tim Brown.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The Service Department in the last month completed the crack sealing throughout the township. Our concrete crew has replaced over 600 yards of concrete and continues to move forward with the concrete slab replacement program throughout the township. Drainage crew is outperforming ditch maintenance and culvert replacements, along with working with Lake County Stormwater Department on erosion control and stormwater runoff enhancements. In the next week, the crews will begin the DuraPatch repairs to our asphalt roads throughout the areas in the township that are in need of repair. Additionally, the Service Department, along with Chardon Township Road Department, are working together to make full-depth repairs on Colburn Road. We have one more patch to finish up tomorrow morning with the base coat, and then about a week and a half from now, we hope to have the top coat done and that job to be complete. Beginning September 13th, the Service Department will offer the yard waste drop-off again. The drop-off will be open to residents until November 30th. The hours of operation for yard waste from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. We remind residents that yard waste must be in a paper biodegradable bags, no plastic, and no heavy brush. Excuse me. The annual Fall Brush Day collections will take place Saturday, October 9th, and the second date will be Saturday, October 23rd. Both days will be open from 7:30 to 2:30 p.m., 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And the Service Department reminds residents with questions, concerns to contact us at the Service Department at 440-350-3225 or find us on the Concord website at concordtwp.com under Departments. We hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend, and that's all I have for the report.
Thank you, Tim. Zoning Department, Heather Freeman.
Good evening. So for the month of August, the zoning department staff processed 25 zoning permit applications and collected about $5,600 in fees. Of those permits, I just wanted to highlight the commercial ones that we approved this month. One of them was for an addition onto the existing Big Creek Veterinary Hospital located on Girdle Road. We also issued a permit for Dr. Masseni's new medical office building that she's building at 7965 Auburn Road in our what's shaping up to be our medical corridor over there. And the other one was for a new commercial office and warehouse for the Accurate Landscaping located at 7291 Ravenna Road, our neighbors here. So additionally in August, our zoning staff performed 98 site inspections for open zoning permits, and we followed up on 11 new complaints about potential zoning violations. Next week, the Zoning Commission is going to hold their regular scheduled meeting. They have a public hearing scheduled for a text amendment in addition to a site plan review and design review for the existing McDonald's located on Auburn Road. They're looking at some changes to the facade of the building, some interior alterations, and also putting in a double drive-through, so that's exciting. The detailed agenda can be found on the Township's website under the public meetings. Additionally, next week, the Board of Zoning Appeals will hold their regular meeting, and they have one new variance case to review. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation Department, Deb Esker.
Good evening.
As we warmly welcome fall. We can still take advantage of the beautiful weather and the days and the evenings that are still sunny and enjoy some family-friendly fun this September. So here's what we've got planned for residents and guests this month. Rick? Grab your lawn chairs, picnic basket, and maybe a cozy blanket or two, and head over to the Town Hall Gazebo on Thursday, September 16th for an Abbey Rodeo concert. This special fall concert is due to the rainout of their summer concert back in July, and it will begin at 6 p.m. versus the usual 7 p.m., so please make note of that time change. Known for their American-infused harmonies, the band covers rock, pop, blues, surf, folk, rockabilly, and bluegrass. And chances are you know all the words to all the songs and you will sing along. So mark your calendars for September 16th for great music in the company of good friends. We kick off fall with a robust schedule of classes through the Recreation Department. In September, we are offering an after-school tennis camp for kids, baton twirling for kids, martial arts for adults and kids, mixed media painting, a chalk couture class that makes these cute little autumn-themed shaped door hangers, make and take classes for Ducky soaps and lip balms, and in honor of Concord's new pickleball courts, currently under construction, we're offering an introduction to pickleball class, which is filling up very fast. So if you call to register for it and the class is full, we're going to add additional classes. We're also offering a gentle yoga class in the morning and the evening, and this is a result of information that we gleaned from your resident posts on Facebook. We talked about yoga on Facebook and people said, hey, we want a morning class. Now we've got one. We're offering a Pilates yoga fusion class, pound exercise classes for adults, and we're also adding an adapted class this season, Tai Chi classes, a computer-controlled holiday lights class that teaches you how to set your holiday lights to music so you can enter the Light Up Concord contest later on. How to use amateur radio to talk to people around the world, and finally a smart investing class. So a plethora of classes to meet all of your leisure class needs. Register online anytime at concordtownship.com or call the Recreation Department for immediate assistance. And Library Tuesdays are back at the Concord Community Center. We are partnering with the Mentor Public Library to bring residents and guests fun and informative programs on Tuesday mornings. This month, learn how to cut the cable cord on September 7th and find out all about the alternatives to cable that you didn't know existed. And you've heard about LinkedIn, but do you know what it is and how can it benefit you? If you're interested in this, be sure to attend the program on September 14th to find out more. Programs begin at 10 a.m. and they last until about noon. All Library Tuesday programs are held at the Community Center but are hosted by the Mentor Library. And shout out to the Mentor Public Library for their time and their wonderful dedication to our community. Our next senior social is September 15th, when the Recreation Department hosts our annual Grandparents' Day Tea. This is simply a delightful program, complete with light refreshments and a variety of tea, and we recommend sipping it with your PP up. The program is free, but pre-registration is absolutely required, so please call the Recreation Department to reserve your treat and your seat. And hopefully by now, everybody knows that Concord Township will celebrate our Bicentennial in 2022. The Recreation Department is busy planning a full year of special programs and events to celebrate and honor our vibrant community. A new Images of America book detailing Concord Township is currently available for sale, as well as our history coloring book. Both books can be purchased at the Community Center and Town Hall, and the Images book is available at local bookstores. We warmly invite residents and businesses to get involved in our bicentennial preparations. We're seeking businesses to sponsor events as well as residents to volunteer. So just contact the Community Center for a list of all activities and be a part of the festivities in 2022. And finally, plans are in the works for our annual Halloween hunt. Since last year's drive-around hunt was so popular, we're doing it again this year and we're kicking it up a notch. So mark your calendars for Saturday, October 30th for Concord Township's Halloween Hunt and Pirate party. And I do believe Mr. Rose is particularly excited to be swashbuckling around in his pirate costume. So the idea is to drive around beautiful Concord Township on October 30th from 10 a.m. until noon and collect treats from our partner anchor locations, which are businesses around Concord Township. And then head to the Town Hall gazebo at 12:30 for the pirate party featuring the Blackjack Gypsies. So it's an enjoyable family-friendly outdoor concert with a pirate theme. Costumes are encouraged, and you betcha I'll be taking pictures. So I hope to see everyone there in costume and just to share a good time with good friends and neighbors. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb. Member law enforcement, Sergeant Bobby. Good evening.
For the month of August, we responded to 907 calls for service in Concord Township, 7 of which were injury accidents, 11 were damage accidents only with no injury. We had 2 domestic violence arrests. We had a failure to reinstate as a sexual offender arrest, possession of methamphetamine arrest, possession of narcotics, obstruction of justice, and resisting arrest, a protection order violation arrest, and a possession of heroin arrest. The arrest with the OVI, DUS, and weapons under disability, just a little recap on that. That was Lieutenant Bowen. He was on patrol, came across a vehicle on Ravenna Road that had crashed into a fence and some other debris in somebody's yard. He then fled the scene. We called the K-9 unit out to assist with us. We were able to track the subject down in the river. The river was pretty high. River was flowing pretty well because of a lot of the water from the rain. They had to enter the water to take this male into custody, at which time he struggled, and they had to struggle to take him into custody. One of the Willoughby Hills officers who came out with this K-9 actually had a laceration on his face from having to go through the debris to get to the river. The male was found to have oxycodone on him. He was intoxicated, so he got charged with OVI, and he also had a firearm in his vehicle, so he was charged with weapons under disability, which is being intoxicated or under the influence while having a weapon, and he also mishandling a firearm while in the vehicle because he did not have a CCW permit, etc. 51 alarms, 15 citations for traffic offenses, 112 warnings for traffic offenses, 6 driving under suspensions, and then just 16 disturbances, 20 hazard calls, 10 juvenile complaints, 41 suspicious circumstances, vehicles and persons, 13 thefts, 39 traffic complaints, and just to sum up just a few snapshot of some of the calls. And that will be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving into the audience portion, if anyone would like to come forward. Okay, we'll move into old business then. Seeing none, we'll take on new business, and per an earlier request, I think we'll move item G to the front of the batting order for item A, in front of item A, and then we'll take it in order from there.
So before we make a motion, I would like clarification from Mr. Lucas regarding G and the Canterwood as far as the cemetery, that open space.
Yeah, this specifically addresses the questions that went on between the board and the developer regarding the cemetery lot, and that under the approval of the amended preliminary plan. I think just so the developer's aware, I'm going to recommend a motion be made with the request of the developer to at least provide within the final development plan how they want to address that particular issue. We're not trying to lock you in one way or the other, but how you wish to address the maintenance of the burial lot if it continues forward, as opposed to being disinterred in that. So we're
taking into the fact that it's easement there and it's the people's responsibility to maintain
if there's an easement, I want to see it.
There's an existing easement.
For the maintenance of it?
There's an easement, there's a landscape easement on it.
Oh, there is?
But there's also
Yeah, yes, please.
Please.
there is a existing easement for that cemetery. All right. I don't know, there's no designation as who's responsible for the maintenance of that. We have included within this a landscape easement. So I'm not sure within the final development plan if we'll have a resolution what's going to happen there. And I think that's, in other words, we're hoping to get this plan through approval process kind of rapidly. We're not sure how this will be resolved.
Are you going to have a homeowners association?
There will be a homeowners association.
Right, you're supposed to present the bylaws of the homeowners association at the time of the final development
Okay,
plan.
is it their responsibility to maintain an easement created by others?
If you want to, if it doesn't identify who's to maintain it, and it's going to be part of, I'm presuming, a common area, at least at this point, you could put that in the bylaws.
Well, we're not, but again, we're not sure what it is. So how do we put in the bylaws?
But what is it going to be?
I'd like to ask you, what will it be?
I don't
You
know.
know.
If I'm the developer, I could answer that.
No, if you were the developer, you would not maybe propose to understand the answer to the question that has been resolved. I mean, how do we answer a question and how do we designate for,
But what's it designated now, Tom, under the preliminary development plan?
is it a landscape easement down, John? It's a landscape easement on a development plan. So, as a
but
landscape easement.
The development plan is just acknowledged.
As a landscape easement, I believe the homeowners would be, I presume, I'm not sure about the law, but as a landscape easement, I think all the landscape easements in there will be maintained by the homeowner association.
Well, who's going to own that under your preliminary development plan?
That'll be part of the open area. It's actually, it's not open area, it's actually, that's actually set aside by deed in 1839 or 1840, like a couple 180 years ago, as an easement for a family cemetery.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, under your preliminary development plan, you're recognizing an 1840 easement. But what are you, under the preliminary development plan, as presented, doing with that lot? To me, it looks like it's a vacant lot. Because
We have not platted it as a lot. It's not been platted as a lot, it's gone.
it's not a lot for development purposes, but it's
Correct.
an open area. All right, so who maintains the open areas?
The homeowner association maintains
Well, that-
the
well,
open area
Well, that's my point.
with a landscape, and there's a landscape easement
You just
because.
want to address if for some reason the
Jeff.
cemetery remains as is, that the HOA will maintain it.
Yes,
That's it.
yeah. As long as it remains existing with the and I'm not even dealing with the potential, which is always there as a matter of law, that you can have it disinterred through court action.
Correct.
In which case, that would extinguish it.
Again, you're asking legal questions. I'm not sure if legal questions.
I guess-
normally come
It's
up
not a
with
legal,
plat
it's not a,
approval.
it's
I'm
not,
sure.
it's not a
Mr.
legal.
Lucas,
Wait a
can I-
minute, excuse me a
Well,
minute.
it's not.
It's not a legal question. I'm
no.
saying factually, if it's an open area, number one, factually, under your preliminary development plan, who's maintaining the open area?
The open areas, I think, under the development plan are not maintained. I think they're kind of open areas, aren't they?
No.
But, no. Okay, so the homeowner association maintains.
Right.
Right, okay.
So
Thanks
I'm
for the
asking
guidance.
that there be a specific recognition that as long as that is an open area that contains a burial plot, that under your bylaws, that you include that as part of the open area to be maintained by the homeowners association.
So
If the homeowner association are maintaining all the open areas,
One at a time. You talk
If the homeowners are maintaining all the open areas, why does that have to be designated separately?
Because that's not gonna be necessarily a permanent open area if you disinter. You can develop it then.
Well, it will not be part of the open area? There's a landscape easement, I believe it's part of the open area.
It's not part of the open space.
It's part of the open space.
Wait, he just said it wasn't part of the open space, and you just said it
It's
was.
not, Heather said it's not counted as open space.
It's not counted, but it's part of the open space. There's a landscape easement on this, so,
Yeah, but the landscape easement, if it was one I
well,
looked at back.
maybe, would it make,
Wait, we can't both talk.
Yeah,
The landscape easement, if it's the one I'm recalling, doesn't say who maintains it.
so you wanna make note on the deed restrictions on a plat that the homeowner association will maintain the landscape easements. Is that correct?
Yes.
I
As
don't
long
know
as,
about that.
as long as it's an existing
Well, there's
cemetery lot.
Well, there's another open area landscape easement, so all landscape easement will be maintained by the homeowner
Yeah, but I want that
association.
identified because we're having a big discussion now whether that's an open area or not. So I want to eliminate that discussion at some later point in time.
Huh? I'm not quite sure I'm following what you said. Apologize.
That's all right. That's my fault for not
What
explaining.
I'm saying, we have a
this.
couple landscape easements. Here's what we think. Looking at a subdivision, all right, we'd like to look at it, what's actually there, if if we're designated as a landscape area. Between houses, nobody wants poison ivy and stuff growing between them. So we designated, I think, these areas as landscape easements so that the areas between houses can be maintained in order to make really a nice presentation for the neighborhood rather than let it go wild and let whatever grows there. So I think the reason we designated this as well as the other portion of open area that's adjacent to lots and within the subdivision as a landscape easement is so that the homeowner association would maintain those areas and make them sightly rather than unkempt.
Does that meet your requirement, Mr. Lucas? Is he saying?
So I would agree that the homeowner association should maintain those open areas as they would the cul-de-sacs. They're open areas too. You would not let, same thing.
As part of the preliminary the final development plan, you're going to submit your bylaws? Okay. You know what we're looking for. You know what I'm looking for. Why don't you send that over to me in advance of the public hearing and I'll look at it. Public hearing for the final development plan.
I guess the way I understand it is he wants it specifically outlined in your HOA guidelines that if that site is not disinterred,
Correct.
that it will be maintained and taken care of by the HOA. I think that's what we're getting at, right?
Is that what you're asking me?
At the final.
Specifically within the guidelines, because the HOA is going to have responsibility after the development is completed to maintain the open space. And even though that is it's part of the open space, and you say that there's a landscape easement, we want it specifically identified that it is a burial site if it's not disinterred, and it needs to be maintained appropriately. Is that, you getting that? I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would only be the case if it's not disinterred. If it's disinterred, then the whole
Right,
thing's
as long as
moot.
it's an existing burial lot.
Well, if it's an existing burial site, again, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of it.
We've
All right,
seen-
I'm not sure. I mean, we would agree that the landscape area would be maintained. That'd be a landscape area to be maintained. However, I'm not sure the proper way of maintaining broken headstones that have been broken up by falling trees or whatever, animals, or whatever, for hundreds of years. How do you maintain that?
Yeah.
So,
We're
I
not
mean, I
asking
think,
that.
you say they will maintain it, and I guess the homeowner association will determine how they want to do that? Is that what you're suggesting? I mean,
We're not suggesting any extraordinary maintenance. We're just talking normal maintenance, like cutting a lawn or,
yeah, no, we don't want I don't think the homeowner association would want an unsightly area between lots. I think
I don't either, but we
Right,
want
we're
them
not
to be aware
talking-
that's what we
yeah.
want.
I don't think we're talking about making it into something it isn't, it's just recognizing the fact that it's, if the grass needs to be cut around it, and, you know what I mean, it just needs to.
Yeah, well, that's why we made a landscape area. And I tell you, I think designating both landscape areas, in fact, there's multiple ones, as being maintained by a homeowner association makes total sense.
If you want to specifically include.
Even if it becomes disinterred, I think it should be maintained. You don't, again, that doesn't eliminate the homeowners living on either side want to see something maintained in a decent manner, I think. Which is, I think, the reason that they put the landscape easement in. Is that correct, Jeff?
That's right.
Yeah, it was put there for a specific reason, not to have something wild and ugly growing between houses. So I think it would not apply not only that, but I think to the other landscape easements that we've designated.
Well, we could have that addressed in the final plan, for the final plan approval, right, Mike?
Yes.
That's what we're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
You want to,
Should we set any stipulations in the preliminary plan?
You know,
No.
just motion to approve the preliminary plan as amended at this point. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the amended preliminary plan for the villas at Canterwood Farms Residential Conservation Development District.
Mr. Chairman, I will second.
okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, then the motion passes. Okay, so that takes care of item G. Now we'll go back to the top of the order.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the August financial report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sorry.
it's okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the vote, or move to approve to enter into a professional services agreement with CEC Incorporated for Phase 3 Public Water Township-wide service study in the amount of $16,550.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the reassignment of part-time firefighter 1, Corey Baker, to part-time regular status firefighter paramedic effective October 2nd, 2021.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I move to vote and approve Fire Department conditional offer of employment to Jack Buckney, part-time probationary firefighter paramedic, pending background check and physical.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the Cemetery Department PO to Barrington Consulting Group in the amount of $6,500 for plot marking.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to authorize the fiscal officer to open a Star Ohio account for the bond proceeds and other funds.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and setting the public hearing for, I think, 15 minutes. Which meeting do we want to do that one at?
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
I'm not gonna, I won't be at the
Okay,
So
so we need to
October?
move it into October.
The first, or is that, oh, I'm sorry, what is the
It's October,
6th.
6th.
10-6? For what? 7:15?
Yeah.
15 minutes?
Fine.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll set the public hearing for Wednesday, October 6th at 7:15 in advance of the, it was cut off sort of short, 6:30 to 7:15. We'll do the public hearing at 7:15. Okay, last item on the agenda is item A, or, well, the second to last item is I, which is a motion to move into executive session. So that being the case, we will not conduct any business after, well, we complete with I. So, Mr. Rose, would you please read the future meetings and announcements, and then I'll take a motion on I, and we'll move into executive session, and nobody has to stick around.
Yes, sir. Future meetings and announcements. There were 2 items voted on in our staff meeting, which was conducted on, August 27th. Item number 1, Mrs. Lucci moved to approve the 2021 Records Disposal RC3 form. Mr. Dondorfer seconded that motion. The vote was 3 ayes. The second item, Mrs. Lucci moved to approve a step increase for Cam Edwards to $26.53 effective August 20th, 2021. Mr. Dondorfer seconded that motion. The vote was 3 ayes. Future meetings, Actually, one last announcement. Township Hall will be closed, township offices will be closed on September 6th in observance of Labor Day. Future meetings on September 7th at 7 p.m. The Zoning Commission meeting will be held here at Town Hall. On September 8th at 7 p.m., the Board of Zoning and Appeals will be held here at Town Hall. And on September 15th, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. will be trustee office hours in the conference room. And at 7:30 p.m. on September 15th, the regular trustee meeting will be held here at Town Hall. Thank you, sir.
All right, and with that, I will take a motion on item I.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing imminent litigation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G3.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Mrs. Lucci,
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yes. Okay, that we're in exec.
Thank you, everyone.
Are we doing the conference room or are we doing, we're staying here?